Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another university segment of the REIMAGINE 2020 virtual conference. My name is Ashlie Meredith. I'm your co-host and head of education over at MouseBelt Blockchain Accelerator. Just want to thank everyone for tuning in to our second version of our virtual conference series, Disrupting the System. I'm here today interviewing Spencer and Kieran. They're students over at Fordham University and in charge of the Fordham Blockchain Club. Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining.
Hi, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. I appreciate you having us again.
Yeah, so returning guests. Last time, we talked about, what's going on in your region, what's interesting in blockchain in New York, what you were excited about. And, it's been 3 months, so we wanted to check in because it seems like maybe people aren't returning to campus or they are returning to campus. Kieran, what's going on at Fordham?
Yeah, so Fordham's actually in a very unique spot right now, and obviously different conditions and things can change as you've seen across the country. But as of now, we're employing like the hybrid learning environment, and we're going to be doing that. So we're going to try to balance out throughout the year kind of a mix between in-person and having like Zoom chats just like this. So hopefully, we can still have the in-person events, but only time will tell kind of how everything's going to play out.
Absolutely. I've heard a lot, kind of a new term I had never heard before, but apparently they've been running classes like this before the pandemic, hybrid flexible courses. So really thinking about how to engage learners in multiple ways and kind of build your classes you're almost building 2 or 3 classes each class meeting because you have the in-person course and then you have ways for people to engage if they're only tuning in online. So it will be interesting to see how that goes. Have either of you actually started classes yet or not yet?
No, so actually we don't start classes until Wednesday. So it's coming up in about less than a week. But like you said, with the flexible hybrid model, we're just playing it by ear, running it through, Fordham and New York guidelines. But we're basically going to see how Fordham approaches the hybrid flexible model and try to follow them to the best of our ability and set up in-person events when possible, maybe guest speakers, depending on how that stuff will work out. But until then, we have, plenty planned for online Zoom conferences, seminars, and stuff throughout the semester to do online as a plan B.
Awesome. So as you're thinking about maybe offering kind of different ways for people to engage with the blockchain club, since you may or may not be able to meet in person, what are you really excited about? What are you thinking differently? How do you plan to kind of keep your community together during this time?
Yeah, I think like one of the main ways that we do it is just keeping that point of contact going, especially with everything that's going on. Universities and moving in, everybody's doing stuff. You can kind of get lost in the waters, and I think it's really important for us very early on to establish that connection, especially with incoming students. So I actually got to do a virtual like club fair for everybody, and we've already been trying to reach out to students in different organizations and deans on campus to try to really figure out a plan to provide the best value to students so that it's not just another club that they go to, but they're really excited to talk about it and hop online and see us in person and go to our events. So that's really how we've been approaching the whole thing.
Yeah, and so I know that in the past you've used some of MouseBelt's resources as well to run a kind of a business of blockchain class. Is that something that you're planning on doing again this semester?
Yeah, for sure. I think, Spencer, you can take it.
Well, I was just going to say that's exactly what we plan on doing. And to touch upon what Kieran was saying earlier, to keep the students engaged with this business of blockchain and business course that we have, I really want to emphasize collaboration. So even though we're all online, I want to have online projects, programmings, or platforms online, such as MouseBelt, where we can work together and follow along together, do exercises together, look at case studies together. And so I think that that's the important part about keeping everyone engaged. But we definitely plan on keeping the blockchain and business course rolling, where we really try to bring the two worlds together, where most of the computer science or information system specialists or majors, they really like to, really stick to the tech side of things. And then also, so then when the business students look at blockchain, they don't look at it as something, maybe a finance major wouldn't look at, oh, blockchain club is something that would, interest me or something that would benefit me for my, career exploration. But actually quite to the contrary, that business or blockchain is being widely adopted within multiple areas of business. And so that's what we're really trying to combine and teach students here at Fordham.
Absolutely. And hopefully for everyone tuning in, you'll see plenty of interviews from our last conference and also this conference. More and more enterprises are exploring blockchain for their supply chain management, payment settlements, and we've got some new members of our Blockchain Education Alliance. So hopefully you're familiar, but for anyone tuning in, MouseBelt University has recently started to bring in external partners to try to create more educational content for students. And we just announced our newest members, including AB InBev, one of the largest beverage distributors in the world, Rolls-Royce, ING Bank. So really exciting stuff coming up with the Blockchain Education Alliance. And, we feel the same as you guys, right? That there's just, you gotta kind of establish a consistency and just let people know you're there. Even though it's all virtual, we're gonna keep showing up, we're gonna keep throwing events. So be sure to tune in and stay tuned for all of the MouseBelt University events. We'll be doing an open forum where I really want to invite the students to come speak to these industry people and let them know, like, here's what we're thinking for the semester, here's how you can support us. And anything that you would say to them now, like, is guest speakers something you're really interested in? Are there certain topics that you think students are really excited about right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the our program, especially partnering up with MouseBelt and creating like the business of blockchain, really kind of being able to combine the two silos of your traditional finance and accounting with your computer science people. That's big for us in terms of, like, we are a predominantly business school and we have big ties into New York City and trying to go onto Wall Street. But I think one of the really exciting use cases, it's hard to really kind of pick one, but would be really what you were saying earlier with supply chain management. And I mean, supply chains are just inherently complex. You have multiple different transactions and stakeholders, but smart contracts, utilizing them, would be able to overcome a lot of challenges, like using self-execution and predetermined conditions. It really just improves transparency, like traceability and efficiency. And I think that's really one of the great things for enterprises and companies. I think it's probably one of the more exciting use cases of the technology for sure.
Yeah, so I'm hoping we can get some cool projects going with, Anheuser-Busch. How fun is that? Like, let's work with the beer company and they'll be able to do lots of beer giveaways, and they're doing, from seed to sip kind of traceability, right? Like, we can show you exactly where the hops were grown and every step of this process. So lots of interesting things in supply chain. So I guess similar to the question about, what you think students are interested right now, last conference, we came up with the theme of, like, reimagining, right? We took it as an opportunity, that this kind of big pause button that had been put on our lives to slow down and kind of think about, what could the future be like? How can we use this moment to stay connected? And it seems in the last 3 months, we've only had failed responses to the pandemic, more political upheaval at home and abroad. So we wanted to do this theme as disrupting the system. We feel that over the last 3 months, we've just seen these systems continue to fail, the economy, and I think people are really waking up to the fact that, that they, some people are only just learning, like, that the dollar isn't backed by gold anymore, and how can the government just print money? And so I hope it's a good time for people to be more open to really radically different systems. So as far as disrupting the system, I just wanted to get your thoughts on what are some of the blockchain use cases that you think have the most potential to really change the way we live, or what makes you excited, or how do you see blockchain disrupting the system?
I can start with that. So I see blockchain disrupting the system, more specifically in the use case of blockchain in media and information sharing. So more specifically, blockchain is being used to collect and store metadata for journalists and media companies. And so what this means is like they're rebuilding their infrastructure by adding on blockchain security and storage of data. And right now we're in what's called like this post-industrial age of sharing news and media, where everything we have top companies, you know, the legacy news organizations that tend to catch most of viewers' eyes or catch their attention with both algorithms, user tracking systems, asking developers and marketing teams, every aspect of the infrastructure. But now what blockchain is doing to kind of come in and disrupt that infrastructure is it's, first of all, decentralizing that, allowing more fact checking, and allowing all this data to be shared within all these news companies. Right now, it's more being used with these startup news companies and that are less known. But the way it's working is they're incorporating what's it called, TCR. So that's token curated registries. And they'll go in and they pretty much have incentive to rank your news sources. And it's almost a way of fact checking, but it adds more of security and incentive to the matter by backing it with that cryptocurrency. So that's one of the hybrid solutions for blockchain and information sharing and media. But then more of a targeted solution is just that metadata storage that I was talking about earlier, where on a daily basis, journalists and media companies can just come together and securely store and edit through, you know, information on this blockchain, on a private blockchain platform.
Absolutely. That's so interesting. I'm really glad you brought that up, especially as MouseBelt begins to participate more in the media space, doing what we see to be journalism, you know, reporting on what's going on in the trenches, what students are actually working on, the backgrounds and interests of you know, some of the top names in blockchain. And so, yeah, the journalism and media and getting to the truth of things and anti-censorship and open access to information. We're all about that over at MouseBelt. But yeah, you bring up a lot of great points. Last week we did a debate club with MouseBelt University, and we talked about, was the Twitter hack good or bad for Bitcoin? And one of the things that comes up in that conversation is that journalists kind of can't rely on Web 2.0. That you know, this was an opportunity for people to kind of rethink centralized social media and what that does to our democracy, what that does to our news. There's also, you know, the kinds of projects that I've always loved, or the big kind of pie in the sky dreams of blockchain making a more equitable world have to do with, you know, my favorite projects have to do with like freedom of speech, anti-censorship, people getting paid for the content that they create and owning their data, you know, things like Steam. I know that Civil Token didn't really make it, but I was following that project pretty closely. You know, this idea that we could have a more free and fair journalistic system on the blockchain. So yeah, I think you're totally right, and we're only going to see more of that, especially as we start to see the pitfalls of centralized news media and social media. I think the blockchain solutions are going to start to become very attractive. What about you, Kieran? Oh yeah, go ahead and respond.
Just to finish that up, I was just going to say that's exactly what I was trying to get at. Is I think it's really cool how blockchain can kind of come in and add this governance to media networks that it seemed almost wasn't there before.
Definitely. So Kieran, what makes you excited about blockchain, and are there particular use cases that you think are most likely able to disrupt our system?
Yeah, mainly my interest kind of stems because I'm more predominantly like a business finance student, and I'm concentrating in information systems. So I'm kind of interested a bit more in things such as like financial transformation and like how accounting, like we did an event and we had like a ton of people from like the Big Four come in and talk about like blockchain use in audit. And I think like that's like a really great thing, especially for our program too, because we have a ton of like those accounting and finance kids from our school. That technology and just like really upending the way that like traditional accounting has been done for like since like the start of time, like that in itself is really exciting from like a finance perspective, and seeing how like these big companies are going about kind of utilizing technology to really change just like your traditional finance silo. I think that's really exciting to speak about for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've heard, people in blockchain talk about, I mean, really, we would be getting rid of accountants at some point, right?
It's really interesting to
um,
think about for sure. Like, and they actually like Fordham just came out with a big it's I think it's like information systems accounting major, and it's like applied, everything's applied now with finance, and really understanding how like the technology is not going away, and it's only getting so much more integrated into every single thing that we do, that the use cases for businesses in the finance realm, it's unimaginable.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like you're able to explore those interests at Fordham. That's kind of one of their specialties. You said it's a new major that they have, really applied finance
Yeah,
and
applied
information
finance and
technology.
accounting, and then we also have like information systems accounting classes. Like they really try to do a great job of bridging the gap. Like I'm pretty sure Spencer too. Aren't you a fintech concentration as well?
Yes, so I am an information systems major with a concentration in financial technologies. So, and that, like Kieran was saying, Fordham's doing a great job of really bringing the two worlds together, finance and technology, because funny enough, that was kind of where I was at when I came here to college. I was like, I don't really know. I'm kind of torn between finance and the tech side of things. I really like, the Silicon Valley. I like Google. I like Apple. I like coding, but at the same time, banking and finance and my financial management courses interested me. And so I really wanted to take maybe my technical love and interest maybe to a financial firm. So that's what Fordham is really allowing students to explore and experience here. So it's really cool.
That's great. Well, I hope any students listening, or if they're younger and thinking about what schools to go to and are interested in that kind of stuff, can think of Fordham as a place to go. I'm not sure if you covered this in your last interview, but are there any blockchain courses officially on campus, or any faculty support, or is it still just really early and mostly student driven?
So it is very early developmental stages when it comes to blockchain introduction at Fordham. The club was only started about 3 years ago, so we are still a fairly developing new club on campus. But then also we do have a concentration on campus being offered now in blockchain, and that is being provided at our in-city campus at Lincoln Center. And so I believe it's only one course. I don't think it's very like I don't think there's a lot of courses offered in that, but Fordham is taking initiative to try to start incorporating blockchain into its agenda.
And I think it makes perfect sense with everything you're saying about what they like to focus on. And I love that you said, I have all these various interests and I don't want to just pick one. And I think blockchain kind of allows people to, at least for me, like I'm not very technical. I don't know how to code. I couldn't code anything except maybe a basic HTML website, but I do love technology, and I'm a kind of a futurist, and I love emerging technologies. And, I really believe that with the right care and attention, these things can actually really benefit humanity. So it's a really exciting world, right? I'm a big sci-fi nerd too. So I just love working in technology, and blockchain kind of allows me to use my skills as a educator, as a philosopher, to like think about these things. And then also the fun part of working for an accelerator, which is getting to work with startups and being kind of in that entrepreneurial space. So it's really a great way for people, I think, to merge a lot of different interests. And we see that on campuses over and over again, or at least I definitely try to encourage departments or campuses to do more interdisciplinary work. It's the perfect marriage of a business department and engineering department to do blockchain classes. So it's great to see so many people with so many different interests finding a space to kind of touch all of them at once with blockchain. It's really exciting. Well, any other announcements or anything going on coming up soon, or things people should pay attention to, or where they should go if they want to learn more about Fordham blockchain?
If they want to learn more about Fordham blockchain, it's down right now. We're in the process of getting it back up, but we do have our website, Blockchain at Fordham. So if you're ever interested, they can take a look there, and we follow us on Instagram, also Blockchain at Fordham. And then, yeah, also I was just looking at that Fordham, their blockchain involvement here, and it's actually a secondary concentration. So that is the option here at Fordham. So you can do a secondary concentration in blockchain. But other than that, I really look forward to this semester. I look forward to see how this flexible hybrid model goes. And I look forward to working with everyone at MouseBelt and within the Fordham community.
Absolutely. Kieran, any last thoughts for our viewers?
If you need blockchain education information, go to mousebelt.com. No, no,
Absolutely.
honestly, yeah, just stay safe. And as Spencer was saying, just always keep reading the news, always stay up to date on all the exciting new blockchain things that are coming out, because that's the really exciting part about the space is there's always something new every day, and everybody's always still learning and innovating and growing. So, and yeah, fordham.edu and go to our
and
be great.
Also, like Kieran said, if you are interested in blockchain news, my favorite place to go to is CoinDesk. If you're into blockchain, you probably know about CoinDesk, but just throwing that out there if anyone's looking for resources. But yes.
Yeah, definitely. Great publication. They've covered a lot of the different announcements that we've done. So I've always enjoyed doing interviews with the people over at CoinDesk. Yeah, so if you need more information about blockchain, MouseBelt University, CoinDesk, really hope to see you guys on some of our coffee chats and meetings with the Blockchain Education Alliance. For everyone watching at home, thank you so much for tuning in. This is REIMAGINE 2020 version 2, Disrupting the System. Thanks for joining us, Fordham University.
Thank you for having us.